Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Joker, Folie. So before I get to the rest of my review, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, MoviePass. So MoviePass is back and it's better than ever. It's a subscription-based ticketing service, and I've been using it for a few months now, and I just think it's great. And they have this neat new black card, and it feels great, and it's very easy to use. And unlike your AMC A-List or your Regal Unlimited, you can use MoviePass at almost any theater, and it is very simple to use. They now go off of a points-based system, so you pay every month, and that will vary depending on the market that you live in, and you'll get a certain amount of points to use for movies. And the price in terms of points for the movies varies depending on the day of the week that you go to the theater, the time of the showing, and how recently the movie has been released. So what you'll do is you'll go into the app, you'll click the movie that you want to see, unlock the card, and then pay. And you can also pick the online option for just a few more points if you don't want to wait in line. So again, thank you to MoviePass. So Joker Folie is a $200 million mistake. I'm just kidding, I shouldn't be so harsh. Joker Folie is a musical / psychological thriller directed by Todd Phillips, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. It is the sequel to the 2019 film Joker, which is an Elseworlds DC tale about a different origin for the Clown Prince of Crime. And this is set a few years after the first film. It follows Arthur Fleck as he has gotten a lawyer who thinks that he can get off for his crimes due to insanity, and she's trying to work on that case with him. But through all of this, he meets this Arkham inmate. Her name is Lee Quinzel, and she kind of encourages him to go off the rails and to embrace the Joker. So that is the gist of what's going on here. And I enjoyed the first Joker film for what it was. I did not necessarily see Arthur Fleck as the Joker. It was definitely an Elseworlds tale, a different, more realistic take on how mental health is important and how just a series of bad events can push one man over the edge. And it was a solid film. And I have to say, I applaud Todd Phillips for what he did in bringing that cast together and creating that story. And I think the budget was like between $50 and $70 million. And it went on to make over $1 billion. I think still to this day is the most successful film of all time. And of course, Warner Brothers, you see that and you're like, well, can you give us a sequel? So Todd Phillips, let me get this, I do not blame Todd Phillips for this movie. I'm happy he took the money, and I'm happy he did whatever he did. I'm sure his payday was happy. Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix, their performances are still to be admired. Like I said, Joaquin Phoenix won an Oscar for the previous Joker movie. That film won a lot of Oscars. He became the second actor to play the Joker to win an Oscar. This follow-up is not good. It is bad. And to get the score out of the way, I'm gonna give this movie a horrible 2 out of 10. It is a nonsensical mess. And like, there are moments of greatness. I will say that. Very few where you're like, man, they could have really done something great with this movie. And like, when I go into the theater, not a lot of people in there, I sit down, I'm watching it. It starts off with like a cartoon, which I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like an animated short that is separate from the movie that, you know, they can also submit for an Oscar. But it starts with this cartoon about the Joker and his shadow. And then it goes into the movie, and Arthur Fleck is pretty much back to the pitiful guy we knew of in the first movie before he became the Joker and embraced that personality. And it's like, well, what's going on here? It's like he's just kind of moping around. He's sad. He's not really doing much. Then, of course, he meets Lee. Things start to change. You get a little more interested. You start to see a little bit of the psychological stuff about it. Like, well, is she really there? Is he imagining her? What is her plan? All of this. And then it kind of slows down again. And they do like a bunch of musicals. Some make sense. Some don't really make sense. And it's just like, why is there a musical here? It doesn't really tie into what's going on. Later, you get a musical like the musical in the courtroom. That musical sequence is great. It ties into exactly what's going on with the character, with the story, and you thought it was going to go somewhere. That was another scene where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back into it. And they were taken right back out of it. And then, like, when he embraces the Joker persona again, you're back into it. And then the film just takes you right back out of it. And then, when I'm thinking all of this is for naught, there is a scene at the very end of the film where there is an explosion, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, they might salvage this, and this is a great story about how he actually does maybe become the Clown Prince of Crime, how he, you know, embraces that Joker personality even after all the mess that we've been through before. and they take you back out of it again. They make a horrible decision in the end. And not to mention the very final scene of this film. God, it's just not, it doesn't make sense. The movie really feels like a waste of time. The only other movie I can kind of compare this to would be the Matrix Resurrections, whereas like they didn't want to make the movie, but they made it anyway for the money. That's what Joker Folie à Deux feels like. And like I said, have Todd Phillips taking that check, Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga for taking those checks. I'm sure they were paid well. And it's just sad. This movie's not going to make anywhere near $1 billion. I'll be surprised if this movie even cracks 200 million because it is bad. It's awful. And I do think, like I said before, like there are moments of greatness. What could have saved this movie if they limited the musical element and just made this a legal drama and, you know, had that, you know, psychological stuff between Lee Quinzel and Arthur Fleck about, you know, her becoming Harley Quinn and him becoming the Joker. That is what they should have done, but I'm not quite sure exactly what Todd Phillips was thinking when he was putting this together. And if I can say anything else good about it, the costume choice is great. I like the different suits that the Joker wore in his musical fantasies. Lady Gaga, she was pretty much Lady Gaga. The music was fine, but the movie is terrible. If you take anything from this review is don't go watch it. Wait for it to come out on Blu-ray or VOD or whatever. Just, you don't need to waste your money going to the theater to see this. You might fall asleep. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me for this movie review. Remember, you can find the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flicksfrog. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.